Yes, father confirm, it's your boy Foxy P in the building. I like your boy. The chopper of yam and the fryer of plantain. Yes, 1995, 1999 Gidigbo champion. First Igbo governor of Lagos State. Baba say yes, can I say yes, we fit. Yes, father confirm. Yes, father confirms. Your top Foxy P in the building. I like your boy, chopper of yam and the fryer of plantain. Chilling right here on the new episode of the Africa Today show. Ginger. I'm recording live from my hotel room right here in Miami, Florida. I came out here for my full-time job. That's right, it's true. Without is working. I haven't been able to record because I've been traveling so much. And one of the amazing things about traveling is this. You're so out of your own natural balance, your natural flow of things. You know, you're constantly reacting to things. You're eating at different restaurants. You're doing all kinds of things. It sounds like fun, but the real thing is that you cannot do the things that you usually do. Anytime they send you on work, if you ever worked in a job where you have to travel, every single day, a guy will calling you, what's the update? What's the update? You probably work more when you travel than when you're at home. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. I'm working so hard. And you people know me, I already said this. I'm a worker. I'm very intelligent. At least I think I am. I know what I'm doing. But I'm a bad employee. Which is one of the reasons why they told me that they will fire me soon. That's right, it's true. I got the final warning just before they go to HR saying that, this your late coming is becoming an issue. And, for me, I looked at it like, well, I mean, my guy was even saying things like, I've worked with Nigerians before, and usually they're the first to come into the office and then the last to leave. If we have to be there for 8:30, then they have to be there for 6 a.m. I'm like, maybe that's the old generation Nigerians, so we were the Nigerians that were watching MTV in Niger, confirm. So you can't tell us nothing. We're not gonna come here and be worshiping. Oh, people, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? No, never. No, I just don't like to show up at work on time, but I'm getting better. We're getting better and better by God's grace. But let me jump into everything that's going on. This episode is dedicated to Ajede on Twitter. You hit me up and you was like, yo, Father, where's the Africa Today show? I'm like, look, I carried my camera, my tripod, every single thing. I've been battling in this hotel room trying to get the lighting right. That's why I have to stand behind this. Their wardrobe. This is a wardrobe here. I have to stand behind the wardrobe because the lighting here is just so messed up. I think this room was made for blue film. That's what they're supposed to be shooting in here. Blue film pornography is what they should be doing in here. Because you can't do anything reasonable. You can't shoot any kind of video that's reasonable. But let's jump into things that are happening in Africa. Let's go into the pop culture. We'll get the news that Wizkid and Linda Ikeji are at it again. Wizkid, Ayobalogun, you guys know him. Nigeria's #1 solo artist. I'll say that. He's out there. He's big. And of course, Linda Ikeji, Nigeria's #1 blogger. What happened? It was off of the fact that Linda went up there and said, hey, Wizkid, we found out that this is your house that you were claiming that you bought in the island. You are being given quit notice. How can you be an owner and you're getting quit notice? Oh, maybe you were renting. And well, that's how Wizkid now jumped on how heavy. Now started saying all kinds of things. One of his directors used to smash Linda back in the day. This, that, and the third, whatever. And they were going back and forth. I think it was like this past Sunday or the Sunday before. They were going back and forth. And I for me, I was like, I don't really pay too much attention to all that kind of nonsense because I have bills to pay, I have things I need to be doing in my own personal life. So when two ridiculously rich people, two multi-billionaires are there arguing with each other, billionaire and Naira, arguing with each other, who cares? Nobody cares. But a lot of people were really entertained by that. And then Wizkid now said something. It was like, look, Linda, if you keep running your mouth, I'm going to get my 16-year-old girl cousin, to come get you. And then Linda now went to police to kind of report him. And I found that very interesting. Why did I find that very interesting was because you had a situation where two people were running their mouth online. One person had said something and the other person had said to make it real in the real life. And what did they do? They went to the police. So finally, I think the Lagos State Commissioner of Police now invited Wizkid and invited Linda, and they now had the whole conversation or discussion through lawyers or whatever. Linda Ikeji was pushing it like, this is violence against women and all that kind of stuff. Number one, I would never, ever welcome violence against women, against men, against children, against men who dress like women, whoever. I never support that. But in this instance, I thought it was kind of like silly. Because this is somebody who has made a name off of just like saying things about people. And all of a sudden you call somebody out and the person is like, yo, I'm gonna get my little girl cousin, 16-year-old girl cousin. Of which, Linda, I've seen your sister. She should be able to fight. I know you're big house that you have, you're on Banana Island. What are you afraid of? Get like 3 mopo with machine gun to just stand there. Once Wizkid cousin just show up, just Don't shoot her head though, like her leg below the laps, you know, so that way it's not attempted murder, you know, it's just assault with a deadly weapon. You know, some of us are done things, so we know some of the laws. Yo, so I thought it was very interesting, and the more I thought about it, the more I started thinking about this blogging everything. I look at blogging, I think about the first people who did that whole gossip column thing. Think about like Prime People back in the day. Think about Hertz. Think about Hints. And these are all like, you know, little magazines that we had in Nigeria back in the day who used to come out there and be like, Sonny Ade has fathered another child out of wedlock, of which that's what the motherfucker did. That's how he rolled. That was his thing. Back in the day, in the 80s, nobody was using rubbers. You know, I wonder how their dicks didn't fall off. But that was how they rolled. Oh, Shino Peters has impregnated somebody else. That was how they rolled. But this were the magazines that will come out and put all those things out there. And then from there, you now have the advent of the internet. And then you now have the big blogs like Linda Ikeji, for instance. And one thing that I found very interesting was this. Number one, you have people that blog responsibly. What they blog about, they tell you that, look, I blog about food, I blog about cakes, I blog about, you know, music. They do their thing. They have people that blog about what people do. And I look at it like that's gossip. Gossip is what tatafu. That's just you running your mouth based on what you saw somebody else doing. There is something inside of me, maybe because I was born in an African home where my mother would always tell me, stop running your mouth and telling me what people did. Shut up and go and do something with your life. So off of that, you know, gossip has always been a terrible thing to me. It's like a bad thing to me. So I find it very interesting now we live in a culture where it's being, you know, worshipped. It's like, that's what people do, you know. People spend more time, you know, on TMZ.com than CNN.com. You know, people spend more time, you know, reading Linda Ikeji than they would on Guardian newspaper. You know, you want to find out which one of these girls is P squared and fucking, or who's the person that Cobams is fighting, who has beef now with Genevieve. Ooh, the band just came out, he leaked somebody's nude, all that kind of stuff. I find it interesting how that's become the entertainment of our time. Don't get me wrong, this thing has always been there. You know, when women used to go to the streams back in the day, when men were going hunting and they'd be gisting about what happened in the village, gossip has always been out there. But now it's risen to a level where it's almost like gossip is king, gossip is God, like gossip is news, like gossip is everything. Like the biggest blogs, the biggest websites, the biggest Instagram people, the biggest Twitter people, it's all gossip, people telling you what somebody else did. I find that very interesting. The line has blurred so much between reporting and gossip that now you go on legitimate websites, you go on Nigerian news websites, Liberian news, Ghanaian news websites, newspaper sites, and what are they doing? They're talking about what an artist did in his time out of the studio, in his time outside of being on stage. The same thing with like Fox News and CNN and all those other people. All they do is just glorify all kinds of nonsense. And it irks me to an end. I look at Linda Ikeji, I mean, she's very, very successful. You know, she was able to take that gossip thing, take the website or the blog, add the advertising and do all that, and made herself a very influential woman in Nigerian subculture. That's amazing. It's beautiful for anybody to be able to do that. But if you're doing that based on something that's kind of like slimy, I don't know. I feel a certain way about it. I guess that's the question for you guys today. Like, how do you guys feel about this current culture that we live in where, you know, everybody worships gossip, everybody worships, oh, that's what this person did, oh, this person don't lick this person nude, oh, this person don't bump picking outside of wedlock. Like, how do you guys feel about it? Because we're the ones at fault. We're the consumers. We're the ones who pay attention to these things. If we don't go to those websites, they won't get the kind of hits that they had, or show it to all the banks and everybody else that now comes and now advertises on their sites. They won't be able to get the kind of revenue that they get. I just want to like find out from you guys how you feel. Talking about how people feel, we're getting the news right there from Nigeria. This one babe, her name is Amalara. Amalara, what's your problem now? She said anytime her husband climb by, it starts to pepper her. Why is he peppering you? She found out her husband, because he wants to torture her. Every time he wants to climb by, instead of using lubricant, some people have to use lubricant. Why? Because the manhood is bigger than the womanhood. Confirm. This baby is complaining that the husband is not using lubricant. I'm like, well, Nigeria, they might not have KY jelly, might be using Vaseline. Say, no, he's not using Vaseline. I say, okay, it's baby oil. He's not using baby oil. I say, is you Ororo? He's using ground oil. Say, no, he's not using vegetable oil. So what is he using? He's using olive oil, of which boys have done that before. Anointing oil that mom say put in their house. You know, when you're dealing with a baby that's shouting too much, you just gonna take the anointing oil and you just curl on small like this and just massage and manipulate. And she'll be like, oh my God, are you using anointing oil? You say, yes, you're blessed, my dear. God, help us, keep us. But this baby said he's not even using that. What is he using? This is aboniki balm. This is a balm. If you're living in America, you've never used aboniki before. Maybe you know rub. If you don't know rub, you know all those kind of things. Chinese balm that people rub when their hand is spinning them, their back is spinning them, their neck is spinning them. Confirm. All those people that run after moto, you know, maybe you're selling gala and hold up. You know, your laps are preparing you. They rub that balm. That's what this guy is putting on himself to insert into his wife. And the wife was like, yo, this man is doing this to torture me. So in my mind, I'm like, dang. This marriage is kind of abusive on so many different levels. Number one, there's no way you can be kissing on the baby's neck and her chest and romancing and doing all kinds of things and enter her, and you're going to put a boniki on your body. And she won't be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? So there has to be a certain kind of control or manipulation that's going on there, where it's like, yo, lay down there and I'm going to put a boniki on myself and insert inside of you. Because this news came out of when she went to the court trying to get a divorce. And I'm like, what? Like how? How does it get to that point? What is the reasoning? You know, my first degree was in electrical engineering. So I use that engineering mindset. I try to think logically about things. There's some things you should never ever think logically about. You know, like when you're trying to understand why TB Joshua's baby grows more on the right side than the left. Maybe it's all the lies that the man is selling, of which you hear that he came out, the Panama Papers. He has offshore accounts. Shout out to Sahara Reporters. Adela and Sahara Reporters. She said something that was so funny because I did the show with her in Boston this past weekend. She was like, this guy has looked at it and he said, I know my reward is in heaven, but it's very, very important for me to set some aside right here on earth. So you now went to go and get an offshore account, but that one is on the side. But I wonder, I said, let me think logically about this man. What was your progression? How did you decide I'm going to start putting a boniki on myself? Of which that thing is hard. It's peppers. You cannot just go and take a tarondo and now rub on yourself. You cannot go and grind pepper and pour it on your gorokako and say you want to use that enter woman. There's no way in hell. So maybe that might be a sign of mental illness, number one. Number two, maybe he himself is into some kind of pervy kind of thing. There's some people that are into all kinds of wild stuff. Some of you are watching right now, your parents are being tied up in the room before they can actually enjoy sexual habitation. You don't be in your room, you don't be hearing, hey, Chimo, Jinwaya, Esharora, hey, Makwamio, mommy, Makwamio. That's your parents climbing, confirm. We're getting the news that the Chibok girls that were kidnapped almost 2 years ago, a video came out saying that they're alive and, you know, Boko Haram is ready to talk to the Nigerian government, see if they can figure out a ransom. And everybody was losing their minds and everything else. It was very interesting. The Chibok girls video came out the same day Aisha Buhari, wife of our president, was launching her new book on beauty or female beauty or whatever the hell it was. And people were now like, how can you be there launching your book when Chibok girls, they just released their whole video? You should be responding to that whole thing. Well, two things. Number one, she herself, they already set the date for that thing. They already rented the hall. They already did all kinds of things. So they're like, why should I not change my date because video dropped that day? This is not like all you people that will be changing your mind anytime Beyonce does drop album like this. That's no work that day. Or anytime you see that formation ticket for her tour, you people lose your mind. No, these people are different. They're like, look, they don't really give a fuck. I've been telling you for a long time now on Africa Today show, they don't care. They don't care. People are losing their minds about the fact that Buhari's youngest daughter just flew first class when she was going from Nigeria to abroad. And people were wondering why. I'm like, they don't care. You see our Senate and House of Rep, they just recently approved, I think it was almost like 13 billion naira or something like that, to buy new SUVs, brand new SUVs for every single person that's in there. We talked about the pension just this last episode, and I appreciate you guys for the comments and everything else. I found it very interesting. There were a lot of people watched the video and they only left comments about the flogging, which made me believe that maybe people only watched a little bit of it and then they ended what they were watching. So don't feel bad if you're in the comment section and you're wondering, why didn't more people talk about this pension situation? Why didn't people just focus on the flogging? Don't feel bad about it. Some people don't have the stamina or the time to spend watching a long video. And sometimes I think about it to myself and I say, maybe I should make these videos shorter. But I'm already making Instagram videos at 15 seconds. Let a man be able to just come and express himself. Can a tout speak? please. But you know, the fans are the fans, people that support are the supporters, the touts are the touts. So you guys will always be there for me. So don't ever feel bad when you're going through the comment section and people are not commenting on things that you feel they should be commenting on. I also found it very interesting that the Ministry of Defense came out and said that they are setting up a resettlement center for all Boko Haram members who have changed and have decided that, you know what, they're no longer going to be doing Boko Haram anymore. So it's kind of like a center they can go, they can learn some skills, whether it's shoemaker, whether it's mechanic, whether they can come and reintroduce them from there into society. And to me, I'm looking at it like, America did the same thing. And they did that one called Guantanamo Bay. And what was that? It was a jail. You know why it was a jail? Because those people are enemies of the state. When you have people that are carrying arms and ammunition and they're shooting and killing and raping and kidnapping citizens of that country, do not play no games with them. They're doing suicide bomb and everything else. What are you resettling them for? Just because you went there and you shot them and you shot somebody in the leg and the person now eventually healed, you now want to resettle them. How are you going to resettle them? What does that mean? If you carry a gun and you're shooting against your country's army, that's an act of treason right there. You should not be playing any games with these people. These people are criminals. They are not even an organized army where you can say, oh, you can use the UN accord. The UN says that, you know, if you catch somebody that's an opposing militant, you know, you should be able to like rehabilitate them, put them in, you know, give them food, water. You can't kill them, you can't treat them badly because they're prisoners of war. They have rules about that from like the Second World War. But this one, shoot them in the head. If there's no gun to shoot them, use cutlass. If there's no cutlass, show Gary for them, put cement and drink. What are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. How can you tell me that you're taking people that are Boko Haram terrorists that you've already caught and you're putting them in a resettlement center saying that they've changed, but you have someone like Nnamdi Kanu, he's in jail right now, of which I would never, ever be an apologist for Nnamdi Kanu that's trying to start the whole Biafra thing. If the guy did the same thing, why don't you set Nnamdi free of them, put him in that same resettlement center so that he can change his own views and everything? It doesn't make any sense, but that's the way our government works. And I won't lie to you guys, personally, me, I am tired of talking about Nigerian government. Exhausted. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. Let's talk about Mali. Let's go into Mali. We're getting the news from Mali that their president recently had to go to France for surgery. He had to go to France for surgery for benign tumor or whatever it was. And I thought it was very interesting. I'm like, my nigga, you're going to France for surgery. Why are you going to France for surgery? Because you haven't developed your own hospitals. That shit is crazy. Talking about weird things that people are doing, getting the news from the UK that this one babe, Melissa, she decided that her father, he was just, you know, they came out and said, look, this man has cancer. He has only a few months to live. They said maybe he had like 2 months to live. So what did she now start doing? She just gave it to a bouncing baby. So she started pumping her breast milk and giving her father to drink. Now when I first heard that, I was like, that is gross. That is the definition of gross. I mean, that is nasty and dirty all at the same time. But she was doing it, and guess what? Her father now ended up living 16 months more. Couldn't eat anything, couldn't do anything. So she was giving him that breast milk, and he was drinking that whole thing, a whole cup in one gulp. And she was like, dang. She noticed that his skin was getting fresher. He had more energy, more vitality. And I was not like, wow, maybe there's some truth to that too, because if you think about it, when you're sick, what do? They give you Pediasure. They give you things that children drink. I have one of my friends, Daniel, who's a grown-ass man, but every time he's sick, he drinks Cerelac. And I'm like, maybe you're reverting to when you were a baby. That's why you're doing that. But no, I believe maybe those nutrients were really key. So this man was drinking breast milk and he was able to live longer. Now, I'm not saying that you people should not be going into main road now looking for babies that are carrying breast milk so you can now move it and now drink. Because that shit is nasty. How do I know it's nasty? It's because I've been in the streets. I'm getting the news from Burundi that this one Alfred, comedian guy, just got arrested. What did he do? He told a joke. He told a joke, and the brunt of the joke was the president of their country. So whenever you feel bad about what you're doing in your life, think about the fact that you have a livelihood. Whether you're a student, whether you're a typist, whether you're a secretary, doctor, lawyer, whatever you are, you live and you do a job where nobody is ever going to come and put a gun on your head because of something you said. This comedian just said a joke. A joke. He didn't even say it in that country. He said it in another country. Like, he went to Rwanda to go and do comedy show. When he now came back, boom, they arrested him. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you so much. When I take care of myself, as we talk whenever we end this show. Anything we don't die in a Voltron, and when it down, suck that breast, ginger. Make sure you all subscribe. Confirm.